So we've got to do a little bit of housekeeping before we get into this video. You know housekeeping, right? Just kind of catching up on things that had been said in the past and kind of just updating these ideas on the show. A few days ago, we made a video talking about the Vancouver Canucks 15th overall pick at the 2022 NHL Draft, Jonathan Lekkerimäki. And the video we made about him was talking about how the Detroit Red Wings, with their 8th overall pick in this year's draft, also really wanted to take Lekkerimäki. Now, we know, based off of the way the draft went, that the Red Wings did not end up taking this player. They took a player by the name of Marco Kasper instead. Lekkerimäki dropped over to 15th, and we had ourselves that video that we made talking about the pick. I wanted to bring that video up mostly because of the fan response. You know, Red Wings fans, I love your team, and I am a pretty die-hard guy when it comes to talking about prospects and development and all that stuff, so when it comes to the guys that Steve Yzerman inevitably drafts, I've been a fan of pretty much every one of them so far, starting with Seider back in 2019. This is a pretty interesting conversation to be having in this video, because last time we talked about your 8th overall pick, as we said, it was Marco Kasper. We talked about how Lekkerimäki was also a player that was on your radar. A lot of the comments in the comment section said, oh, if Lekkerimäki was a guy that Yzerman was looking at, then that's cool, but at the end of the day, he made his decision. He took the guy that he was more confident in. He took the guy that he liked more. He said in the post-draft interview that he feels like there's a lot of untapped potential in Marco Kasper and the game he provides, and that's all fine and dandy. I don't want to disagree with that in the slightest. Just in case you're brand new here and you need a little scouting report on the newest Detroit Red Wing, Marco Kasper, 18 years old, 6'2", 187, a left-handed player, signed to the end of 2024-2025 with the Regla BK in the SHL. If that sounds familiar to you, then yes, it should be, because this is a team that Moritz Seider actually played for before heading over into the NHL. Now, Kasper, even though he played in Sweden, is not Swiss. Excuse me, oh my goodness, did I just say that? Swiss? He's not Swedish, he's Austrian. Born in Innsbruck, Austria back in 2004, he was a guy who was playing in the SHL as a very solidified two-way capable center. This is a player that, taken at 8th overall, is not really the flashiest guy in the world. He's not going to dazzle your pants off. He's not going to score highlight reel goals. He's not going to go end-to-end with McDavid. This is a player that just does everything right. He makes the nice passes. He takes the nice shots. He goes into the boards. He grinds. He can win puck battles. He's great defensively. He's good, responsible, and all that in his own zone. Marco Kasper is an all-round, multifaceted hockey player that I've been a really big fan of this season, and the fact that he was taken 8th overall is great. Here is the scouting report from Elite Prospects. He's physical and capable along the boards. Even in terms of manipulation, he recognizes the angle of defenders coming at him, and he knows how to beat them and escape them. He passes to the right areas, he knows the next logical play in the offensive progression, he goes to the net hard and often, and with purpose to screen, rebound, and score. He has good first touches, takes them inside when possible, and leads to the next play. Even though Marco Kasper only scored 11 points in 46 games played, I, like many other scouts, saw a lot of projectability into this game. Even though he's not going to be a first-line, bona fide, 100-point player in the NHL, he could be a very capable top-6 center that you can put in your PK, you just throw him out there on the ice, you say, okay, just do what it is that you do, and he's going to be a good hockey player. He's a very safe bet, and he's one that at 8th overall, I honestly could understand why Steve Yzerman went out there and took this guy. However, even though Marco Kasper was the Red Wings guy, even though we had a lot of Red Wings fans saying, yeah, they took Kasper even though they might have been thinking about Lekkerimäki too, this is a really interesting article that popped up on my newsfeed from, hockey-news.info. Now, the URL is a little different than what the actual thing is because it's in Swedish. If you go over to this article and you translate it from Swedish into English, this is what you find. Marcus Rinner wrote this on July 24th, 2022, and it turns out that the Buffalo Sabres really wanted to draft Marco Kasper as well. Now, before we go over into that, let's just remember here, Kasper was taken 8th overall by Detroit. The team that was next up on the board was that Buffalo Sabres squad. With the 9th overall pick, they selected Matthew Savoie, but this article, translated from Swedish into English, gives us a scoop as to what Buffalo might have really wanted instead. It's been a little over 2 weeks since the Red Wings drafted Kasper, although they weren't the only team that wanted him badly. Kasper was drafted by the Red Wings in 8th in this year's draft, making him the second highest Austrian pick in history after Thomas Vanek, who was drafted 5th in 2003. As father Peter Kasper stated to a different news outlet, it would not have negatively influenced his son's further career if he had not been drafted in round 1, but it certainly would have been a disappointment if he went home after 4 hours of waiting without being selected. Okay, now, Peter Kasper, you can calm down there, buddy. Your son was not going to go in the second round. He was a first-round talent through and through. Take a look at the projections right here. He was ranked 12th by ISS, 12th by Elite Prospects, 16th by Future Considerations, 10th by TSN and Bob McKenzie. He went 8th. This guy was not going to get taken outside of the first round. But that would not have been the case either if the Red Wings had not struck. As Kasper explained, the Buffalo Sabres, who came in 9th in the NHL Draft directly after the Red Wings, would have definitely taken him instead. The Sabres, who also took Thomas Vanek in 2005, were so confident in Kasper that they even discussed a trade with the Red Wings, but the Red Wings wanted the 18-year-old center for themselves, and they were not ready to make a trade. The forward is now going to Sweden for another season, where he will continue to sniff high-class professional air, that's a pretty interesting way the translation is written up, with his team in Regla, and thus prepare himself for his first NHL season, which will probably be in 2023-2024. Now, this is huge. Really, really huge, because from this article, we can pretty much infer that the Buffalo Sabres, even though they took a talent in Matthew Savoie at 9th overall that I actually really love for them at that spot, it's apparent that Savoie might not have been the guy that they wanted the entire time. They wanted Marco Kasper, and in fact, they were wanting him so much that they were willing to make a trade with the Red Wings to move up one spot in the 2022 draft. When the heck do you see this happen here? You don't normally see too many draft picks get swapped around there in the top 10 unless the pick is being swapped for an elite asset like an Alex DeBrincat, for example. That was the 7th overall Ottawa pick that was sent over to Chicago, but a trade involving Detroit and Buffalo where Buffalo would just move up one spot? What in the world is the price for that? If the Red Wings knew, hey, they really want Kasper, but we want Kasper too, let's threaten them with the idea of us taking Kasper instead so they give us more assets. I wonder what the quantity of value is that Steve Yzerman and the Wings could have actually gotten from Buffalo had they explored that trade idea. Now, I don't want to go out there and make it seem like, oh, Yzerman made a mistake, he messed up, he goofed up because he didn't trade down to get a whole bunch of assets from Buffalo and just take Savoie instead, because if Yzerman really wanted this guy, Marco Kasper at 8th overall, he thought for sure, okay, this is the best player available, this is the most projectable player available, this guy has a lot more than meets the eye to his game, and we feel like he's going to be a lot better than what the scouting reports are saying about this guy, then fine. 100%, it's Yzerman's call. I think a lot of people, myself included, are just kind of like, yeah, Yzerman can kind of do no wrong, and he hasn't really given us any reason to believe that he can do anything wrong at this point, so he's got the full reign to do whatever it is that he wants. So him going out there, selecting the guy that the Buffalo Sabres really wanted at 9th overall, or heck, if they traded up, 8th overall, good move in my opinion. Sure, you could debate they could have leveraged Buffalo into giving up some more assets had they explored that route, but at the end of the day, the Red Wings got the guy that both teams wanted very badly, and the Buffalo Sabres have to quote-unquote settle for Matthew Savoie. We made a video a few days ago talking about Savoie and the connection with Peyton Krebs, as well as Noah Ostlund, other players taken by the Buffalo Sabres in this year's draft. And long story short, I really do like the Sabres and the prospects they have in their system. It's just really interesting to me how we're talking about Matthew Savoie as a consolation prize in a way here. How they really just wanted Kasper, but they couldn't get him, so they took the next best guy. It's giving me shades of Elias Pettersson and Elias Anderson of 2017, because back then you had the New York Rangers who traded up 7th overall. They wanted to get Elias Pettersson, but Pettersson was taken unexpectedly by Vancouver at 5th overall, so the Rangers had to settle for the next available Swede in Elias. Now, he didn't work out for that team. Hopefully, Matthew Savoie works out a lot better in Buffalo, but I am kind of getting a little bit of a reminiscent flashback in that respect. So talk to me in the comments on your thoughts about Marco Kasper, the Red Wings' newest pick, their first-round guy from 2022, 8th overall, and how the Buffalo Sabres wanted this guy at 9th overall instead. Does this make you more excited for his future? Does that make you less excited? Sabres fans, what are your thoughts about you wanting Kasper more than you wanted Savoie, but ultimately the fact that you got Savoie in the end? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Juraj 99. And bye.